Hi there, students. A pivot. To pivot. Okay, a pivot is a fixed point that supports something that turns round it. Okay, on a door you have a hinge that opens like this. Well, usually a pivot is that, but in three dimensions. Okay, so it's a fixed point that supports something that turns. You can then use it metaphorically to mean the central or most important thing in a situation, or the most important person in a group, the central point. So the team's attack pivots on the centre forward who needs to score a lot of goals. The stability of the country pivots on the strong economy. You can also just use to pivot as a verb, meaning to twist or to turn. Yeah, I hadn't actually done that. To pivot a verb, a pivot a noun, and pivotal an adjective. I guess pivotally as well as an adverb. So going back, to pivot can just mean to turn round. He pivoted on his right foot and went the other way. He pivoted on his heels and went out of the room. Okay, so to pivot, to something that holds something in place, to twist or to turn, or something that is the central point of something. Also, figuratively, we can use to pivot, meaning to change your opinion, to change your decision, so that it's very different to the one you had before. He was strongly against this, and things changed, and he pivoted and was suddenly strongly in favour of it. Okay, so a pivot, a fixed point on which something turns or balances, a person or a thing on which something else depends, to turn or to twist, and to change your mind, to do a 180-degree turn, but in your opinion, in what you think, in what you are saying. Okay, so the whole affair pivots on us keeping our cool. Yeah, we need it. It depends on this. You can also use to hinge on, this hinge that I used earlier. His position pivoted, and he then started implementing a completely opposite policy. The telescope is mounted on a pivot so that you can see anywhere that you want to. To quote Donald Trump, if you start pivoting, you're not being honest with the people. Yeah, so if you do a U-turn and suddenly do or say the opposite. He was pivotal to the campaign's success. Notice that preposition to, pivotal to. This is pivotal to getting what we need. Finding sufficient finance is pivotal to making this deal go ahead. Okay, so a pivot, an axis of rotation, a fulcrum, something where something turns, a swivel, yeah, or a set of statues formed the pivot of the exhibition, the central part, the hub, the heart, yeah, the focal point, the kingpin. The boat pivoted on its axis. It turned, it spun, it rotated, it swiveled. And then his opinions pivoted from week to week. They went in opposite directions. He is a pivot around which the community revolves. He's a central part. He pivoted the pen on his hand. He turned it. He spun it. Okay, so to pivot on something. The door pivoted around a central hinge. Maybe it went open both ways. Okay, so a pivot. A thing on which something turns. Like an axle or a spindle or a shaft. There was a pivot so it could move in all directions. And then figuratively, something that has paramount importance in a certain situation. I think the success of the vaccination campaign pivots on what percentage of the population can be vaccinated. To pivot, to turn on your foot. He pivoted and left the room. Okay, so pivot. To pivot's a regular verb. He pivoted on his foot. The group has pivoted on his great knowledge for a long time. Yeah, he's pivotal to the group. As to formality, I think I would give this 5.25. Use it anywhere. Yeah, formally, informally, so it's a good, useful word. And then as to origin, well, apparently it comes from the French word pivot, meaning a hinge or a pin or a pivot. And if you can give me more origin than that, I would be very grateful. Okay, so to pivot, to turn on, to be the most important central point of, to change your opinion. So anyway, enough. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Pivot and pivotal.